Welcome everyone to another video talking geeky stuff with me, Tenshi, and lovely intro scene by the one and only Rick Astley. Never Gonna Give You Up, one of the greatest songs in the 80s. So I kind of semi-rickrolled everyone, or myself, watching this bit. That's quite pretty fun. So as you can see, the background and the theme, we're talking about 80s. But what is the actual topic? So we'll be talking about 80s cartoons, and here are the cartoons that kind of defined my childhood. Here's some of the best cartoons of the 80s that I used to, once I finished school, I used to kind of run home just to watch this. Kind of usually starts around, depending what day it is, 3:45, 4 o'clock. You get about an hour, maybe an hour and a half's worth of back-to-back cartoons. Then of course you had the weekends, so that's one of the reasons why I think it got the kids to kind of wake up early, get used to it, because it kind of usually starts around 7 o'clock Saturdays and Sundays, and you had like another 2 hours worth of great cartoons back-to-back. Great way to get kids waking up instead of sleeping in and so on, getting a bit lazy, right? So that's really good. I think it's a good thing. I think I don't know what are kids watching nowadays. I need to really keep track of that. Maybe ask my nephew what he watched now on the weekends, or if they watch anything. Considering what TV is like nowadays, they don't have to wake up a certain time or schedule your time to watch a certain thing. Everything's on demand nowadays. So there's no such thing as leaving school early or whatever, go home and just make it on time. No more waking up in the mornings, in the weekends, just to catch those awesome cartoons. Everything's all on demand now. Don't get me wrong, I love demand movies. I mean TV. I went to the whole season done, binge it in a couple of days. So these cartoons that defied the 80s, to me personally at least, you had Transformers there, Thundercats, Masks, World Warriors, usually C-31, Centurions, G.I. Joe, He-Man, and the Visionaries. There was a few more, of course. There's a few more 80s that did come to mind. They were to me like second tier. But these are ones that kind of top tier. Of course, you got my top one is probably Transformers, Thundercats, my two number ones. But the others were very, very, very close behind. He-Man, of course, another good one. And Visionaries. I think I would say the weakest one here is probably Masks. But they're still great though, don't get me wrong. Yeah, and I recently tried to watch them again when I was doing this video. And I forgot how good some of the intro songs were. My one being favourite was probably World Warriors. You had that really 80s rock beat to it. The only intro scene I never liked, even when I was a kid, was G.I. Joe. Watching it again while doing this video, I realised it still isn't that good. And speaking about these ones, back in the days, we used to get, myself, my brother, some of my friends, used to buy loads of these action figures. And we used to pit them against each other. For example, right, you get, say, Centurions. We used to get Centurions versus, say, Thundercats and Transformers because they were pretty evenly sized. Even though it was a bit weird because I don't know if anyone remember, but when you purchased Lino was pretty bigger than the other Thundercats, wasn't it? So I'll kind of get things like Centurions versus Lino, maybe some of the bigger Transformers like Ultra Magnus, Galvatron. They were pretty big, right, to fight against Centurions and so on. And I used to pit Mars versus G.I. Joe. Sometimes I'd even Visionaries versus He-Man. So we was doing kind of like when we was kids, we was doing like crossovers back then. Who knew that crossovers in 30, 40 years time will make it on the big screen? Speaking about the big screen, of course we had Transformers. Michael Bay kind of screwed with it a little bit. The first one's actually pretty good though. I do still think the first Transformers movie was pretty good. Then it kind of went downhill after that. And then, of course, the 2 G.I. Joe movies. Didn't like them at all. Don't know why, I just didn't like it. And I know that Kevin Smith has got the rights to do He-Man, so that's getting delayed. But I would love to see them get either a revamp anime TV show, but kind of more mature. Kind of anybody seen like the Netflix Castlevania, that kind of mature. I'm not talking about like the F-bombs and killing everything, just a little bit more mature theme to it. I think, and of course, anybody bought the rights, I think all these franchises probably has a film in production somewhere in the background. But I'd love to definitely see. I think that I would say probably Thundercats will probably do better if it's a full-on, maybe a CG movie, a good CG movie. I think that Visionaries would be. In today, I can picture Visionaries to be a really good live action. If they take it serious and give it a slightly more mature, think about it, it's got science, medieval fantasy, right? Kind of make it a little bit like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, add a little touch of science to it. With some cool special effects, great design armor. I can see that definitely being a good live action. I also think that Centurion would be pretty good as well. Like kind of like tapping into the current trend of superheroes. Like they are like from a secret organization protecting the world with some of the high tech kind of super suits, almost like an Iron Man if you think about. The story can involve them saving the world, getting themselves and their organization exposed to the governments around the world. And it can be like infighting amongst them, sort of thing. That'd be pretty good. Ulysses would be a great science fiction, kind of in the vein of kind of Battlestar Galactica, searching for Earth and so on. That'd be great. Wheel Warriors. I'm not so sure about that one. I don't think they can make that into a live action movie without being too camp. I think Mask, if they do make a live action of that, that'd be kind of in the vein of the G.I. Joe movies, a bit kind of campy, over the top action movies. So it probably would work. He-Man, I think that's 50-50 with me, because He-Man had enough seriousness to it, but also had enough camp to it. So, and then not talking about anybody's seen the 1986 or 87 live action starring Dolph Lundgren. I used to love that film when I was a kid. I watched it in cinema a couple of times. Then, of course, when it came out on VHS a few years after, watched it so many times. I used to get Dolph Lundgren, He-Man, mixed up with Nuclear Man from Superman 4. Because they had a similar look, blonde hair, tall, muscular. I think they was the same person. Until my friend told me, no, he was a bad guy in Rocky 4. Couldn't recognize him because of the hairstyle. So that's a funny thing. And watching He-Man again, yes, it has definitely have dated. Or maybe just my film taste has got better, understand film and media a lot more. But I watch it for fun. So if anybody who haven't seen the He-Man live action, I would definitely recommend it. It's fun and it's fun, but it's bad. It's a bad movie, but bad in a good way. You know what I mean? So definitely watch that as well. So let me know. Have you seen any of these cartoons, or are you in somewhat an 80s kid like me? Did these cartoons define you? Have you recently seen them recently? Do they stand the test of time? Let me know in the chat. And so that wraps up my little talk about 80s and going back in memory lane. So anyway, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. And please stay safe. Goodbye.